PNC believes every child deserves the chance to grow up great. That's why we bring learning opportunities into the community.
PNC's Grow Up Great is a $500 million multi-year initiative that began in 2004 to help prepare children from birth to age 5 for success in school and life. To date, PNC says the program has served nearly 7 million children. We get more on the initiative and also the state of early learning in Indiana and what's on tap for the Indiana General Assembly in this important budget writing session as well. From PNC Bank Regional President for Central and Southern Indiana, Connie Stuart, and also Early Learning Indiana President and CEO Maureen Weber. And ladies, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Maureen, I'll start with you. Just, you know, we have done a number of stories on this show. This is early learning is such an issue that has really come to the fore in the business community, not just here in Central Indiana, but all over the state of Indiana. As you look at the state of early learning in Indiana, how would you characterize it?
Yeah, well, it's certainly in flux over the last 12 months, given where we are with the pandemic. You know, in the very best of times, we typically talk about 3 challenges that we have around early ed, really starting with the ability to access. And in many communities across the state, it's a challenge still just to find a seat of early learning opportunity. The second challenge that we see, and this is really statewide, is the ability to ensure that those seats are in fact high quality and delivering the social emotional, the literacy and math learning outcomes that we really require of them. And then last, that we have opportunities that families can afford, and we know that it's a challenge for families. And certainly the pandemic has made all 3 of those fronts more challenging for us.
Connie, PNC has mentioned has early learning as a real focus area of the bank's philanthropy and contribution to community. You've been obviously a big leader here in Indiana. Why has this become such an important issue, in particular for the business community?
Well, the reason we got involved was originally due to research which showed that if a child had the opportunity to high quality early childhood education, they were much more likely to enter school ready to learn and to be successful ultimately, not only in school, but in their future career. And that is particularly true of disadvantaged children. It's their way out. And so we felt this was an imperative that every child should have an opportunity for a future that's bright. And subsequently, the research has shown that not only does it benefit the child, and we did a study in Indiana several years ago that showed the return on investment can be at least 4 times the initial investment made. So it's hard to beat that kind of a return. But also it impacts the families in a big way. If the parent knows that their child is in a good, safe learning environment, that frees up that parent to go back into the workforce or further their own education so they can better support their family. And this is becoming even more critical because the need is great for skilled workers. So, yes, you know, this is just a wonderful solution all the way around.
Connie, funding obviously is important to this initiative. You'll be going back to the Indiana State House in this budget writing session. What are you going to be asking for? What's on the key agenda when it comes to early learning in Indiana and that ask at the Indiana General Assembly?
Well, you know, I'd like to start by first thanking all of our partners in the community because everybody is pitching in to help address this. So the private sector is continuing to invest. PNC ourselves, through our foundation this year, has invested more money than I can ever remember in the state of Indiana, not only on early ed, but also on other COVID-related issues. Throughout the state, we've invested in 2020 over $1.6 million. So we've seen that also, you know, from philanthropy with Lilly Endowment, Fairbanks, and others. And our partners, United Way and Early Learning, are working hard to deliver the services where they're most needed. So we need that partner also in the state, which has been a fantastic partner historically. And so at a minimum, we want to not only maintain the support, but we'd like to slightly grow it too. So there are 18,000 children in poverty that would qualify for the state pre-K program. Historically, we've served most recently about 4,100. And so we're asking for only a 10% increase in the number of children served from 4,100 to 4,500 in the coming year.
All right, Maureen, only have about 30 seconds left, but as you look at this year with the pandemic that continues and all the other factors at play, this is a critical year in your view for that momentum to continue when it comes to early learning statewide here in Indiana?
That's exactly right. I think our challenge is to make sure that we're addressing that immediate need and getting children back enrolled in high quality early learning settings just as quickly and safely as possible, while at the same time planning for our long-term future and making sure that we are connecting with partners. As Connie said, PNC has been a great one to us, thinking about how we really address the overall issue of access, quality, and affordability of early learning.
Early learning, a big issue in the business community, to be sure. It will be front and center at the Indiana State House. Maureen Weber, Early Learning Indiana President, and CEO Connie Stuart, also Regional President for Central and Southern Indiana at PNC Bank. Thank you both for joining us. I know we'll talk to you again before the session's over.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary.